Well, hello once again. This is Robert Vaughn with Let's Talk Radio, and we have a show for you today. Today, we have our panel, Vero Majid, we have Mike Shomo, and in addition, we have two guests for our international show. We like to feature people from around the world who have a connection. JL Davenport is from South Africa, and he's an actor. You've probably seen him in a commercial because I've seen him in 2 or 3 commercials on TV here in the States. And Nanna Prip is a singer. Her stage name is Lotus Noir, and she's a very good singer, and you'll probably be hearing a lot more from her. Okay, so we're going to jump right into it today because we only have an hour, and it's going to take a half hour to read through their resumes, but I'll try to be brief. So first, okay.
Ladies first.
Yeah, ladies first. Okay. So Nanna is a Danish Guinean person of color who's an aspiring R&B pop singer and songwriter who grew up in Aarhus, Denmark. She had demonstrated an early desire to perform. She started playing on her mother's piano at 4 years old. And she went to a talent show at 9, and that's kind of what started everything. That was her first time on stage, and she was struck, and she decided that's what she wanted to do for a living. She started writing songs when she was 13. She has attended 4 different schools of art where she learned how to produce, sing, and musical and being on stage. And she has also worked with international producers and Danish artists. She worked with, when she was 18, she worked with an American producer, K. Dell, who's produced for Snoop Dogg, Diddy, and various other people. Since then, she's lived in London and studied at the Guildhall School of Music, which a lot of famous people come from. School of Music and Drama, I'm sorry. She studied electronic music, and she's released 2 self-produced albums and 3 singles. She's determined to make her mark in the genre and has launched many enviable careers. She saw from an early age that you can connect with people in an authentic way through music. And in 2017, she released her debut album, Lucid Dream, and her 2018 album, Rebirth, which was written and produced by herself. And in 2020, she reached an international radio audience with her single, Pillow Talk. And we'll talk more about her. And next up is Jeffrey Lawrence Davenport, or we call him JL. JL has established an international export management and consulting company, specializing in tourism, car rental, natural minerals, mining, construction. So basically, if you want to do something in Africa, hit me up on an email. I'll give you his number. He can make it happen. You want a business in Africa, you want to import something from Thailand to Africa, you're coming over to Africa and you want to set up a tour, anything having to do with business in Africa, he takes care of that. And I would imagine that keeps him pretty busy. It's a pretty big country. Not country, but it's a pretty big continent. He's international marketer for food supplements. He donates a lot of money to the South African community, which you may donate some to me and Vero. You never know, it could happen, okay? But we'll just wait and see. Also, he's a partner in a technology enhanced construction. He's a redevelopment consultant. He redevelops land. You have land, you want to build housing, or you want to do this or do that. He also does that. He's a VP of international sales for HybriCore products. Yada, yada, yada. I could go on for days, but I'm going to stop right there because his resume is like too long. But he's a good guy. Plus, we kind of grew up together in the States. So that's probably the most important thing he's done in his life, is grew up with me and Vero. So without that, we're saying that, we'll keep on. Okay, now, I want to ask you first, Nanna, how was your country and how were you personally affected by the George Floyd murder on TV? Because we kind of know how people here reacted to it. It was kind of shock and horror, and some people say, well, I told you so, and some people said I knew it. But how did that play in Denmark? And how were you affected in your country? Mm-hmm.
To start with, I did not see more than a snippet of the video after the murder, but after I did, I felt so much pain. It was hard to take in. I remember everyone I know feeling slight anger towards the system that has failed in such a huge way. I attended Black Lives Matters demonstration, and I know for sure that it continued for about a month or more all around Denmark. There were people against it also, and also supporting it at the same time. Some people thought it was inappropriate because of the coronavirus, and a lot of people standing close, and others were taking a big step supporting Black lives. So it was, some people were supporting it and some people weren't. It was intense also because Corona was happening at the same time, and you had to adjust to a whole new, a whole other way of living. And at the same time, you were trying to fight a system, even though it was so far away from Denmark. Black people here in Denmark were feeling it. It was, yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Okay. And JL, what about South Africa? I mean, we can make assumptions that it would play a certain way, but tell us how it really played over there, how it affected you and the country in general.
You know what? When you get on a plane and land in another country, they ask you, number one, what part of Africa are you from? They don't know that you are an American. They think you are an African until you speak. And sometimes when you're standing in a crowd, like here in different parts of South Africa, people think and assume you are Nigerian, West African, because my skin tone, they know I'm not from China. So they say things that they don't think will offend you. But it does, because a lot of whites in South Africa, non-whites, supported Donald Trump. They supported Blue Lives Matter because remember, apartheid is just 25, 30, 25, 26 years off the books. But the mentality, the socialization, pretty much the same because they, you know, so.
Now that's interesting. That's interesting.
George Floyd to them, so what? You're in Africa, a lot of Black people died. Worse than that. So it was difficult to not comment. But they wouldn't say that if you're Italian or Japanese, because those are the only two cultures that nobody messes with. Nobody messes with Italian, and nobody messes with Japanese. Because
why do you think that is?
Well, you ever say anything rude to an Italian and wonder if your house gonna blow up? Nothing against Italians, because not everyone's like that. They were criticized. It's just an observation. But people in South Africa that don't look like us, they'll think Donald Trump had his election stolen. That's difficult. So George Floyd was scary because I felt it here. I did. It was very painful to watch. I was up every night at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. That's why I have my dark spots in the bag, because I look like Burl and a lot younger. But, you know, so it was difficult. And I don't say things that offend people. I'm just telling the truth because I live it.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what we want to get to. We want to get to not making assumptions, but find out what really, what people in other parts of the world, I mean, you can imagine how it affected us here. It was, it was a change, sort of an inflection point, and it was shocking. Although we had seen it before, it was like the straw that broke the camel's back. I think the way to put it. Yeah.
They shot Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers. They killed one of the 2 and 3 of the Kennedy boys, and nothing changed. It went back to normal. So
yeah.
I decided to be a businessman and actor because the attitude that I have is I couldn't be a civil rights person and I couldn't be a Black Panther. So I would have been dead from a heart attack. It's just,
Gotcha.
You take roles that you blessed God give you. I couldn't be an activist, and I couldn't be a slave. It's hard to be a slave, even as an actor.
Yeah, that must be that must be a pretty hard role to play, a slave as an actor. I don't know if I could play an ass slave. You know, I'd probably.
I just finished an amazing American TV series where I played a guy that killed his wife. It was really a cool movie film, but I felt hyper and intense because of what I had to do to my wife. I got sisters. The only part that I did the best, that I didn't have any real emotion about, because the actor, the directors, and all the people were saying, "Wow, you did that." I was playing a guy drinking and smoking, and man, they're like, "Wow, you're a natural." I'm like, "Really? I'm an actor. I'm supposed to be a natural."
Yeah, yeah.
But it was difficult because one of the guys that was part of the SWAT team that arrested me forgot he was an actor, and and I'm like, "Whoa, man, hold it! I'm the lead here. What you doing?"
Yeah,
Because
he was
for that
into the
minute,
role. He was into the
no.
role a little bit. Yeah, yeah. Okay. A little bit too much. Yeah, yeah.
And everybody on the set started laughing, and they told him, "You can't mess with him. He ain't been paid yet. You better stop."
Okay, Mike, you want to take us into the next question with Nanna, and we'll keep it moving.
Well, Nanna already answered the question about the
Okay.
the movement and stuff, but I'd like to just comment and kind of kick it with JL for a minute. It's just that from the very beginning in South Africa, when they had the first Zulu uprising that overthrew the British over there until Shaka Zulu was killed, and then his brother made a deal to be the police and all that stuff in there. The next uprising was the Mau Mau. When the Mau Mau was in the 30s, in the 30s till the I think the 50s, I think they crushed them. But here, we didn't even really find out what was happening in Africa until Gil Scott-Heron came out with the album and talked about what was happening, and hey brother, have you heard, have you got the
What's
word?
the word?
What's the word in Johannesburg?
Mm-hmm.
And we started. I was in college when that came out, and we kind of looked, and then the apartheid move. I think the thing that broke the camel's back was when the kids got killed. I still get melancholy about that, man, when they shot down all them children in school. So, how can a country that have had so much protest on some serious matters, not saying that we don't have no serious matters or anything like that, but here's a country that was just killing people for no reason, and when they kill kids, we just had a bomb yesterday over in Iraq or Iran, one of those countries, and they killed right at a school. Why do you pick on children?
Right.
But to have them say, well, okay, George Floyd was just another guy, but it was the Americans and the English that got involved in the movement after those kids was killed. And I think, what's his name, Becky and other people that were being killed, and Mandela, who they tried to kill, the protest and the deep-rooted, racism that was in that country, to say, well, George Floyd was just another dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. So let me ask Nanna, tell us a little bit about how COVID has affected you as an artist, and also how it's affected your country. Because as you can imagine, every country kind of gets news from everywhere else, but it isn't always the truth. So I like to hear from people that actually live there. So how did that affect you, and how did it affect your country?
Well, I feel like it's because it's been clashing with George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movement. Mm-hmm. It's just been so intense in so many ways. I, for example, back in June last year, I had to take a step back, and I had to talk with people, because emotionally for me it was a very personal thing with racism. And it's already hard enough to be not, I wouldn't say a part of the community, but to be accepted the way you are without having to explain yourself the whole time.
This is biracial conversation.
Yeah, but in Denmark, I'm not being seen as a biracial, I'm being seen as a Black person.
Okay.
So that is also a conversation. But I feel like the COVID has affected my country by shutting everything down and kind of making decisions that has been hard on the business here, especially for people with small businesses. They had to close everything down. Some has lost their homes and jobs. So COVID has definitely had a bad impact on
like
the
here,
business side. Yeah, like everywhere in the world. But for me as a musician, and for all of my musician friends, it's been rough. But the rough thing has been not being able to connect with your audience. So I would say, to compare it with maybe other countries, Denmark is a rich country. So there has been a lot of money. If you had earned a certain amount before COVID, you could get a big handful of money to support yourself from the concerts you could have played.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
But
interesting.
yeah, and that is, the Danish system is very rich when it comes to helping, supporting people here. So you're never going to end up on the streets, because you will always be able to get some money, to get some help, no matter
That's
what.
good. Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
Bro, you want to hop in here?
yeah, I did. And then I wanted to ask you a question. What was the racial climate like in Denmark prior to the George Floyd situation, and then compared to what came after that?
I feel like it has changed me and my Black friends, but I'm not sure how much it has changed my white friends. And that is because Denmark has a lack of minorities. We are not many people who look like me. So it's not easy to have just a normal conversation. I can have a specific conversation with my friend who is Black, but I can't have the same conversation about racism with my white friend, because they cannot relate the same way, because it's such a specific feeling you experience when you experience racism. So I would say that when the demonstrations for Black Lives Matter happened back in June here in Denmark and July, I think a lot of people in Denmark were like, we have to make the system change. We have to change. This is not okay. We have to make sure that our children who might be biracial, or a Black friend we have, doesn't go through this. And then it just went down, and then everything went back to normal, kind of. So it's not a conversation we have anymore. It was happening when the George Floyd demonstrations were on the high end. So for me, it was like, it was there for a moment, yes, but then it was like it went back to normal. Does that make sense?
It does. And
Yeah.
but let me just follow up a little bit. Now, in the music industry, there's the races kind of come together.
Yeah.
Among your music industry friends, was there a different feeling or attitude as opposed to what the general population felt?
I feel like some people I know in the music business has been more aware of how they use words, how they talk to you, where before it could be, oh, the N word here, the N word there, and it was hard to have a dialogue without feeling that, oh, this is such a big problem. But now it's like they are aware of the problem, and that we have to change the way we speak to each other. because you can't keep using the N-word. So I think people have been more aware.
That's good.
Yeah, the N-word, that is a tricky situation since so many artists, Black artists, use it just very casually, you know. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody else thinks it's okay. Yeah.
But you know, what I like to know is that, you know, prior to the George Floyd, you growing up in Denmark, and of course, you know, JL probably been there because he's worldly. That guy been all over Europe and everything. But nevertheless, you know, how were the blacks treated before, and what is their history on race relations in Denmark? Because we don't get, only thing we hear about Denmark is smoking weed and prostitution and stuff like that. We want to know what it's really like in Denmark for a black person.
For a black person in Denmark, it's not always easy. There's a lot of racism, but it's not something people are comfortable talking about. People call it, how do you translate it? Cozy racism, like making it something funny. So if it's funny, it's not serious, and that makes it okay to, for example, use the N-word.
Cozy racism, I like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, you know, when you're looking at it, and it's you know, the subtleness of it, or the comedic part of it and stuff, it's still racism. And you know, like if I was to take a trip to Denmark, what would be the best places? What would be the areas for me to go and not to go?
The areas to go would be to the big cities. So Copenhagen would be my first suggestion. And the second city is where I live, Aarhus. That is the second largest city. From there, I think it's just downhill. I grew up in a city called Lystrup. It's a suburb. I'm actually here right now. And it's maybe 5 miles away from the big city. And when I was a child, I experienced so much racism on daily basis, from kindergarten to middle school to high school, football club, everything, you name it. And then I have some friends who looks like me, who's also biracial, who grew up in the big city. Some of them never experienced racism in school. So it depends a lot of how far you go away from the city. Maybe down south, I know it's worse, and I think it's the same in the States.
Yeah, down south.
Down south. I don't know what's about the south that is
like the same people planning this worldwide or something.
Yeah, it must
like
be.
Even JL, he in South Africa.
Yeah, isn't that something? Think about that.
Say, Nanna, what's the population of Denmark?
5 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is that like? How many people in I think it's 5 million in Houston, Texas, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about 5 million in Houston, Texas. Yeah.
That's right.
It's a small country. It is a small country. Yeah.
So JL, talk a little bit about being an actor with the protests going on and with COVID. How has that changed things for you? And talk a little bit about that.
You know what?
Because I know with musicians, they can't do concerts anymore. So it's really had a big impact. But as far as an actor, how has that affected you?
We only have an hour, so I'm gonna
okay.
I'm gonna say, like with Nanna, it's the exact opposite. Just remember, here in South Africa and other parts of Africa, it's a warm, touchy-feely culture. Hugging, touching, very family oriented. In South Africa, COVID has probably lost its mind, the actual virus, because the other parts of Africa are not tripping over COVID. If you go into anywhere, especially Central Africa, airplanes, hotels require a PCR test. You can't get on the plane anywhere in the world unless you've been tested. But when you get off the plane, what's happening? There's no COVID. Now, Here in South Africa, touchy-feely, when you're standing in the bank or the shopping center, you're standing in the queue or line, borough, and people lean on you. They touch you. They don't have a problem with that because it's a tight community, very tight. And you go in some places where 10 people may live in a house the size of a garage in the US. And when the police and the military would come stay in your house, what do you mean? We got to sleep outside. We sleep outside. We can't sleep in here. Then you can't tell Black people, particularly in Africa, to social distance. That's rude to tell someone stand apart. So
Get back, right?
you have to do a quick assessment. And then in some of the upmarket areas where COVID moved a little faster, people was like, everyone thought it was falling out of the sky. You know, I'm going to see you some videos where I had to go off. I want to use some other explicative picadillos, as Don King would say. But I'm like, hello, who you think you're talking to? Because I'm out on the street. We can go buy food and come back. And I went this way. I had to buy 10 things. I would go 5 different directions and buy 2 so I get my exercise. And the security guards that were fair or white, I had to go at them. I had to go like I'm in the hood somewhere. And then when they hear your accent, and then they hear your ghetto accent, they're like, okay, we're gonna leave this N-word alone. So
Hey, tell me
it's never.
this, JL, when you talk about the fair skin, are those the ones that are called the Afrikaners?
No, those are biracial, mixed or Khoisan. They were here before. I mean, that's a 2-hour story. So
I didn't mean to open that. I'm sorry.
yeah, you open a can of, and if this is replayed, I have to be very tender because it wasn't fair because you don't come into the Black area anywhere in the world and give people electricity that works. You don't give them housing. I mean, there's a lot of things that are common on a bigger scale. Here it's a smaller scale. So if you're going to tell someone, put on a mask, social distance, you can't go in the store but so many hours, and you don't work, because Black people in Africa buy food every day. Not every month and store it like you rich Americans. They go 2 times, 3 times a week to buy food, electric. So how do you tell someone you close in a shop and you got to stand in the queue with 500 people? There's usually 1,000 people in the store in some areas.
Are you saying they're not social distancing?
They are in some areas, but how do you tell someone to social distance when the whole culture is touch, feel, hug? You got to understand African people, Middle Eastern people, touch, they feel. There's an amazing culture of people that touch and hug.
Like the Italians also, they could.
Of course.
Right.
So if you in one of the disadvantaged communities, you get a different COVID experience. And as far as an actor, a businessman, can't travel, can't do business, everything's closed. Government's closed, banks closed, renewing visas, Department of Home Affairs is closed all of 2020. The banks open 1 hour a day. What do you need money for? Get your ATM card out. So shopping centers closed. They were only open certain hours for food. One of the things I appreciate about being down here is they got these guys that are COVID ambassadors. You can't go in any mall, wherever you are, without someone telling you, not like that nonsense happening in America where they say, I'm not wearing my mask. Yes, you are. It's the other way, because the security will beat you behind military. They wear a mask. You don't walk in. Everyone is self-socialized. Don't matter what this looks like. We wear a mask. We do our hands. You stand in the queue. They got things on the spot. And try going anywhere, Black, white, Chinese. You're not getting in unless you have a mask. Or 5 security guards that look like football players will tell you, you must go. You don't have on a mask. We will throw you off. And say no. Say you're not going. They will drag you here. And I appreciated that. The challenge we had here with COVID and the spread was that was part of it. And also people sneeze, they take the mask off and sneeze. You're supposed to leave the mask on.
Right. So
There was no social, there were no TV announcements to tell you how to use it, what to do with it, how to wash it. So, and being an actor, no one came down. No flights. South Africa's been closed since March.
Wow.
Since March.
JL.
Only now I do Zoom auditions now on Zoom, just like this.
Hey, JL, when
Yes, sir.
when they were quarantining everybody, we saw on TV here how the military or police, whatever they were, you know, people were coming out of their homes and they were beating them back in. They had canes and stuff, and they were
Kicking it. That's right. Yeah.
they were beating them back
Because
in. Yeah.
true, that's a fact. So the experience in COVID in Nigeria is different in Ghana, Benin. They didn't participate in Zimbabwe and places like DRC. They don't have time for that. They weren't taking any money. The WHO was forbidden. That's a whole other political agenda. And now India, you know, the vaccines in South Africa, nobody wants to take them. They don't know where they come from. They got Bill, I don't want to say his name. I don't want to get sued. Bill Gates, his wife. Oh, I don't want to say his name. All these other guys that have these conspiracy theories. The rest of Africa said, time out. We don't want none of that. We're going to die. Because Ebola lasted 30 days. They took herbs.
Right.
So you can't come down here and sell that anymore. Maybe in South Africa because they still got a, you know, you got a left brain and a right brain. South Africa has a Western mind and a conventional mind, a non-conventional.
Okay.
So, like I said, you know, you have to just have a whole hour for one story with me because, you know, from the hood, we got to get into the nitty gritty. And as far as the N-word is concerned, I went to a shoot for a big American cell phone company, a network. And some Chinese dude, tall, good-looking guy. He was one of the celebrities. He said, "Yo, what's up, man?" I said, "Whoa, time out. No, hold it now. Stop. I want y'all to listen. Tell them to say that word again. I'm taking them out. You're going to pay me to be here." They're like, "Well, what's wrong? You're singing in the videos. You're singing on the radio." And black people,
Yeah. How about that? Yeah.
they know nothing about the N-word. They have a different word that begins with a K. So here, everyone will call you. I'm from.
It was a copper.
That's the camper, right?
You know, I got my lean on. It's backwards down here. I have an old lean. Yo, what's up, man? I hear planes everywhere. Yo, what's up, my N-word? I just live with it. Like, I believe I can fly. What's that guy's name? R. Kelly? Man, you my American. You my American N-word. Oh, God. It's every day, even now with this. You're an O-N. You're an O-N-G.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Hey, switching gears for a minute here. Now, this question is for you. The time in quarantine, because you guys experienced quarantine for a while. I mean, this country was shut down for a minute and things kind of shut down. Now, did that allow you a chance to work on your craft or develop as a person? Because I know one of the things I wanted to do in quarantine was to work out and get in shape. And all I did was end up
How's that working for you?
I did was end up eating more. So that didn't work out too good. Because Mike has a bakery. Mike is a baker and he makes these awesome cakes. So I'm thinking about them all the time. So if you ever come, we have to get you.
Is that putting weight on you just thinking about it?
Yeah, it is. Man, really. If I'm looking at German
making
chocolate.
my blood sugar go up.
Yeah.
In fact, you know, funny thing is, JL been trying to get me to open up a bakery over in South Africa for years.
I guarantee you immediate millionairehood right away.
Okay,
Same
but
day.
that's another show. That's another show.
I'm
But
telling
Nana,
you.
let me ask you, how did the time of quarantine, did that allow you to work on your craft or work on yourself as a person? How did you use that, and people, say in Denmark, but particularly you, how did you use that time when everything was kind of shut down?
Well, I would say in the beginning, I think it took me around maybe 2-3 months before I felt comfortable being in a new state of mind where everything was closed and you couldn't see your friends, you couldn't hug your family, like trying to adjust to that. So it was after 2 to 3 months, it hit me that, okay, I don't know the timeline for this. So how can I get the best out of it? So what I did, I slowed down because I usually go like fast, and I started to meditate more. I started to eat healthier, walk a lot, use the nature a lot. We have a lot of ocean near the city, all over the city actually. Yeah,
Cold ocean.
yeah, cold ocean. And then I dived more into my music and my expression because I felt like I had to find a sound that resonates with me where I am and not where I have been. So I was trying to adjust to my music in another way, finding myself in my music because so many things was going on. So it was for me as an artist, but also personally, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand, and when you say, I know the question was put to you about what, you were doing and how to develop your skills, but my question is, were you, besides the people that are paying you work with, are you mentoring any of the young people in the same breath?
Sorry, I didn't catch the last thing.
I said, are you mentoring any of the young people in the industry?
I'm working my way to it. Actually, I recently got a job as a teacher. So that is when I'll be able to share my experience. I'm looking forward to it, but now I haven't had the chance yet.
Well, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, and then I'm just saying, we always talk about mentoring, reaching back, and bringing
Yeah.
people up and stuff, and that's one of the things that we always would like to do, because we just old guys, man. We want to see what's coming up with the young people.
Speak for yourself.
Earl, you want to hop in?
I was going to ask Nana, had you ever been to the United States?
Yes.
And where part of
Once.
the United States?
New York City.
Oh, very cool. Were you
Yeah.
involved with music while you were there?
I saw some live shows in Brooklyn,
Okay.
but it was Christmas and New Year's, so everything was kind of busy and cold and yeah.
So you didn't have to leave home for this, huh?
But it was worth it. Oh my God. Yeah.
Were you there for New Year's for the ball to drop in Times Square?
Yes, but we went to Brooklyn instead of standing and watching it because it was too crowded. So
It's
we
great.
wanted, another experience.
Okay.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
it was amazing. Yeah, not the last time.
I hear you.
Are you planning on staying in Denmark or going to other countries?
I'm planning on going to other countries.
Oh, that'll be nice. That'll be
Yeah, yeah. I've always felt like Denmark wasn't enough for me. And that is also because I grew up experiencing feeling so different because of the way I look. So actually, when I first came to New York, I had this kind of, I wouldn't say I'm home feeling, but it was like I felt more accepted. When I had eye contact with other people who looked like me, I just felt like they wasn't questioning, why does she look like that? And going up to me, where are you from? Are you from here? No, you're not from here. Like it was just, I was relaxing in another way. And it's something that I've been aiming for the most of my life, to have that feeling of being accepted. So
Who were the
Yeah.
singers or the people that inspired you?
people who inspired me.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. In music, it has been Erykah Badu, mostly because of her spirituality and the way she approached people. And it's a big question, actually.
Not again. God. And let's
Yeah.
hope we do that. What about Ella May and the young ones coming? You know her, and everybody know her. Who's her? Who's
Gabby.
H-E-R her.
Gabby. Yeah, Gabby.
Martin Luther King inspired me a lot when I was a teenager. And Tupac also with his lyrics.
Yeah.
Mostly African Americans inspired me.
Good. Hey, let me
Yeah.
ask you a question. Oh, excuse me, just jump in for a second. If there was one artist that you could collaborate with or tour with, who would it be?
Erykah Badu.
Okay. I actually know a guy who worked with her, and his son is actually singing on some of her albums. And I'm going to
wow.
mention you to him.
Oh,
Who's
thank you.
that? Bernard Fairby's son?
Bernard Furby, yeah.
Yeah.
Send her some of the music.
Yeah.
Y'all know who discovered Erykah Badu, don't you?
Who?
It's Steve Harvey. She worked
Really?
in his club down
Okay.
in Texas.
Oh, okay.
You know?
I
No,
thought it was
again.
D'Angelo.
No, it
Who
was Steve
discovered?
Harvey. He
Okay.
did the music and stuff, but she had the track that she was showing to that was given to Steve Harvey, and Steve Harvey, was just like, okay, you want to sing, and hooked her up.
Okay,
Wow.
JL, I got a question for you. And I want to ask you the same question too now, but JL, moving forward from here, are you going to do things a little differently? What sort of plans have you made or changes? Because I think over the last year, with COVID and the protests, it kind of ushered in a new paradigm for how to do business in a lot of ways. So what will you be doing? How will you be moving forward from here? Same way? I'm sure it's not the same way, but I just wanted you to answer that,
Well, it'll definitely be slower.
Okay.
It's definitely going to be slower. I won't be able to move at the same pace.
Okay.
I want to spend more time with my grandchildren and my children. I got an eggplant coming, and I can't actually, I may get in trouble if my daughter's not ready to do the reveal, but I'm really, really, really keen on spending more time because I lost a lot of family on the road and traveling. And during COVID, man, I cried so much. And because it was a lot of family, you couldn't see them anyway. The business community has gotten bigger.
Okay.
I've never been one to say I did it because I'm Black, and I don't like the word, it's a Black business. You see, you put the crosshairs, you know what crosshairs are, Nanna, when if you look through the scope of a gun, they have what's called a crosshair. That's how you spot the target. In my opinion, I'd rather just go by food truck, Shomo's Bakery. I don't want to go because he's Black. Being Black is not necessarily 5 stars. It could be 7 stars. And you become a target. I have, during 2020, I got a chance I tried writing my book, and I keep falling asleep typing. So I've interviewed 2 or 3 people who are going to take my audio and some of my, this thing I call the conversation, which is what you guys are talking about.
Well, there's a program now where you can dictate it, type it for you.
And they steal it. So
and then it'll go back and correct the typos.
Yeah, and they'll steal it for you, right? So because of my background and my history, I came from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm a brick city baby from the double nickels. That's never going to change. I went to public schools. I was in camp. I can tell you more about horses than the average rodeo guy. So what I share with young men and women, which is what I like to do when I go back to the States, is talk to them about, you don't have to be a doctor, lawyer, energy, school teacher, architect, engineer, because most of those jobs are full. They need engineers, yeah, they need carpenters. Now they need electricians, they need plasters, they need bricklayers, because young men and women don't have a skill. Everyone can't scratch hip hop unless you have a golden voice like this young lady. So I'd like to create a scholarship program from a high school to mentor young men and women to become international business men and women. You must leave the United States. When you become a senior, you have to go to Africa first. West Africa is different than South Africa. You must go to the UK, must go to Germany, must now go to Denmark. Then you qualify, because the world looks different on the outside in. Most people, jazz musicians, businessmen, women, when you leave the United States, which I want all children, college age, get out of the United States for the summer. Don't go down to the Bahamas. No disrespect to my friends in the Bahamas. Or get on a cruise. Go somewhere else where you can see what the rest of the world is doing. And when you see what the rest of the world is doing, which is what I want to say to young men and women who look like us, get out of the United States. They will let you come back. They can't not let you come in. So do something else. So during 2020, I got a chance to relive where I've been and what I've done. The business opportunities for people that look like us is too big. It's ridiculous to even listen to people, your celebrities who come to Africa and cry over slavery, when you could build 1,000 bloody houses, right? And sell them. Start infrastructure. I mean, there's so much to do. You hear Africa, you want to cry. No, bloody white, you don't have to do that. It's not necessary. You even change your accent, they'll treat you different. My daddy used to tell me when him and my mom went to clubs, especially in Chicago, because my mom was your complexion, Nana. And they did the pencil test and the comb test. If the comb went through your hair, then my daddy, yo man, what do you say? We be from Jamaica, man. As long as you were from another country besides speaking like you're from Cleveland, you can get in the club. And it was the opposite here. So I was trying to respond and make a few comments on what Nana was saying about her culture. But however, when you leave the United States, man, you don't even know. They're going to treat you different. They don't know you're an American until you open your mouth and you sound stupid. Asking someone, well, what are you? You must say, what country you're from. You know, so.
You know, JL, I think the experience will be different from Nana coming, from Denmark to the States, because she's like an imported car, she's like a Mercedes or something coming over, a BMW.
Correct.
About a Rolls Royce.
And her accent will definitely get you over,
Like with my children. When my children all hook up this year, my South African daughter, she looks like us. She looks like everyone else. And when the family's like, yo, what's happening? And they hear her accent, and she has hair. When she goes into a restaurant, they pull her hair, they think it's a wig, It's like, because when she goes shower, she got Donna Summer. When she get out of the shower, she got hair like her mama. And no, her mother is not a Caucasian. It's just weird because really, we got these stereotypes in our stupid head. You know what? You've heard me say this before. When I got to the airport, nobody told my big, dumb American butt, take those bricks and those chips off your shoulders and throw them away. Throw them away, because you got chips that go away. Once you get to some place like Denmark, or you get into London and Europe, those chips are gone. You must throw them away, because our Western American arrogance
is no good. It's no good.
It don't work. They don't care. They don't care. If anything, they don't speak to you.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because one thing I've noticed, being in the music business is a lot of times when you go places, like I had one of my artists had a concert in Punta Cana once. And when you go places outside the country, even within the country, when people, I've noticed this a lot. People find out I was in the music business, I was promoting shows or whatever. They seem to treat me differently because they like the music. Like people, I know people used to tell me, says, well, you got a country singer. When you go to Nashville, don't you experience a lot of racism? Because there's a lot of racists down there. Man, when I was in Nashville, I never got treated so good. I'll be honest with you.
Well, see, that's a good thing about music. It's universal language. It just connects everybody, every color, And
it really surprised me. I was going to, I'm Robert Vaughn from Russell Entertainment Group. I'm going to go to BB King's. They put us at the front table, man, like right in front of the stage. The guys on the stage, I knew one of them. He said, come on up and take a picture with us. I'm like, we sure this is Nashville? So it's a funny thing about music, like you say, Vero, it cuts across a lot of lines, and that's why I think musicians, artists have a voice, have an international voice.
Can I ask a question? I apologize for falling out of line.
No, go ahead.
With my personality.
No.
What I can't understand, this is baffling me from being outside of America.
Mm-hmm.
Sports. My youngest son, now pursuing a career in a chef, really good. Hockey, played hockey. Mm-hmm. The other son, Jay, basketball.
Mm-hmm.
What I understand is these young white guys that went to school, if they only listened to rap, if it wasn't for these young white boys and girls who bought albums and cassettes and whatever, they paid anything for it. What I don't understand is where the hell did the hatred come from? Every day they're looking at beautiful Black women, listen to our music, hanging out with us. Where did this Chauvin bastard get his attitude? Because he grew up only on Black sports.
There must be some jealousy too, because I heard a rap today. Tom Hanks' wife was rapping verbatim, some rapper. And I was looking at her on YouTube, and I said, I didn't even think she listened to rap. She can recite everything.
Well, see, you have. I think what happens is you have, like, say, take supporters of the past president. People that don't particularly like minorities, and they don't like anybody. They don't like Black people. They don't like Chinese people. They don't like people from India. And see, they are the minority. There's probably, I'd say 8 to 10% of diehard racists. But see, what happens is nobody will challenge them because they'll tell them, well, you're a traitor. Don't be a traitor to your race. And see, nobody will challenge them. That's why they get away with so much. And I think people tend to think that they're.
That's a fact. I agree with you. That has to change.
I did a show. Right before the shutdown. I did a show at this. It's like a resort in Lakeside, Ohio. It's exclusive, 99.9% white, and there was like 300 white kids, and all they wanted to do was hear a Black rapper from Ohio.
Well, this is.
And they knew every word to every song.
Wait a minute.
And I'm like, I'm expecting Black kids,
Oh, but this is nothing. This is nothing new, because you go all the way back.
Michael Jackson.
Back. You talk about jazz clubs with white folks. You have people that would sing in the white clubs, Black singers like Billie Holiday and Ella Fitzgerald and Count Basie, Duke Ellington. They played for white people.
Yeah, but they wouldn't let Ella Fitzgerald perform in Vegas until Marilyn Monroe
and Frank Sinatra
and let her perform. And Frank Sinatra. He said, if you don't let Sammy Davis Jr. perform, he said, I won't come back ever. And
Frank Sinatra said the same thing.
Yeah. And Marilyn Monroe said the same thing about Ella. She said, if Ella can't sing here, she said, I won't be back to this place.
Well, Nat King Cole, same thing. These people sang.
I think Frank got him in too. Yeah, I think Frank Sinatra.
Nana, do you know about any of these people that these old men are talking about?
No.
Ask your parents. Ask your parents.
Nat King Cole had his own. He was the first Black person with their own show, and the
TV show, yeah.
that everybody, all his sponsors dropped him, when he was black, and then it was Frank Sinatra that came on and got everybody else to come on the show and work for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That happens a lot. And what you see from the outside, Mike Shomo, outside of the United States, looking in, we only get to see the worst that Black people do. We don't have one Obama. I love the dude, don't get me wrong. I know everyone's watching. Obama's an amazing gentleman. Look at what he did. He is not a prophet. Even Jesus said, I ain't a prophet.
Right.
I'm not God.
Not the
You're going to get a lot of letters and people are going to dog your show. I don't want to start any political nonsense, but looking at America.
Religious nonsense.
The religious nonsense, the political nonsense. Looking at America, we see the SAG over here. I'm so tired of these young guys sagging. I don't know what to do.
Man.
Sagging.
well, you know what? They don't. But see, a lot of communities don't tolerate that. I was in a couple of years ago. I was in D.C. I went to Tyson Mall, which is this huge 6-floor mall.
Tyson Corners.
I've been Tyson. I mean, it's looked like a small city almost. And if you come in there with your pants sagging, you get arrested.
Yeah.
And the cops there, if they see
Not
you
over here.
Street, in Arlington, if they see you walking down the street, they will arrest you. Sometimes
Just come here.
But most of the time they'll arrest you.
That's good.
People tolerate that. That's why they do it, because people.
How's it in Denmark? How's the SAG, the shape, the way women and men dress in Denmark? Are they sagging and swearing and build up my N-word?
Every day.
Every day. Don't you feel? I was like, man, it's crazy. So 2020 was an emotional year for me, and I lost a lot of family. I got a chance to atone, which was your original question. I'm sorry to take everyone off. I wish you guys were here. There's so much to do when you leave the United States. So much to do. If I could go to Brooklyn and California and Chicago, Cleveland. Here's a ticket for 20 days. Go somewhere, hang out, see what the rest of the world is doing.
Maybe when the lockdown is off,
I don't know when that's happening. India, nothing's moving in or out of India, Indonesia, all these places. Lord have mercy. So Copenhagen is a small place. They can vaccinate in 2 days and everyone is finished. Finishing class. It's done.
Yeah.
So 5 million people, South Africa, 56 million. I think they're doing a J&J or Pfizer thing now with their, so I mean, this is so political. My whole point for participating was any chance that I get to tell young men and women that look like us, take a gap year, sign a contract, go fly somewhere, hang out like those kids that stop speaking to you after high school that don't look like you. Go see the rest of the world, man. You must see what the rest of the world is doing. You will laugh your butt off and you go, oh, I know how to do that. You come to South Africa. I'm trying to get my son, hope he's listening, get him into South African culinary school. I need to get Shomo over here. Shomo, you know what we can do? Set up, I'm a diabetic. I don't take medication. I got high blood pressure naturally. And you must prepare food for people who want to get on a plane and fly, because we can't eat your bakery. You have to make your bakery with almond flour. You have to make your bakery different so that people that have my affliction, and this crazy affliction, so we can eat it. That's a business. It's wide open.
I will work on that. That's a promise.
It's wide open.
Okay.
So, anyway.
Well, this has been a great show, and I want to thank you, Nanna, and you, JL.
Na 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 na.
That's your anthem.
That was an old song. You probably don't know that.
She's supposed to know it.
I'm
Okay.
familiar with it.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah.
That's even worse now.
Say something in Dutch or Swedish, or sing us
Danish.
a song out of here. No, Swedish. You don't know Swedish? We know Danish. We eat them. We used
Danish.
to eat them all the time. Danish, okay.
Should I sing in
I make
Danish?
them all the time.
Yeah,
Say
he
something to him in
makes-
Danish he doesn't understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Danish. You are Danish now. So
Do you want
You
me
are
to sing
Dane.
or speak in Danish?
Hey, speak
Do
first.
everything. Send us out. Sing first, and then sing
No,
us out
speak first,
before
speak
Mr.
first.
Vaughn tells us goodbye.
Hey,
Okay.
Dana, speak first, and I'm gonna translate it to JL.
Okay.
Okay.
Hoe gaan het? Hoe gaan het, Michel?
all right.
Okay. Jeg hedder Nanna. Jeg bor i Aarhus. That means my name is Nanna and I live in Aarhus.
Ooh, that sounds
Oh,
sexy.
very nice.
All right.
Love
Sing
that
us out.
accent.
Close us out. We want to thank everyone for watching.
Now,
We
quit turning these old guys on, man.
we appreciate you guys letting us into your homes this evening. And we want to thank you for watching. We hope that you've learned something today. I know I did, and I'm sure our panel did. So we're going to ask Lotus Noir
You're so kind. You're so
to,
kind.
to sing us out. Take us home with a song. Okay? About
Danish
30
song?
seconds. Yeah.
Okay.
Something that you want us to listen to and go by.
Yeah, whatever
Okay.
you want to sing.
Jeg vil lade lyset brænde, og lad min dør stå på klem, indtil du fik set, hvad du ville, indtil du er hos mig igen. Jeg vil lade lyset brænde, og lad min dør stå på klem. Se mit hjerte gløder i natten, indtil du er hos mig igen.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, can I just say hello to Saraya, Seiji Poo? Can I say hello to Seiji Poo, please? And yay. My,
Yeah, sit
my
down.
grandbaby.
Anybody got any hellos while we're closing out? Anybody?
That was Nana. That
And
was
Jaden.
you have- you
I
have
want
a
to say
beautiful
hello to
voice.
Jaden, my 20-year-old
Thank you.
granddaughter, the first one. I want her to meet Nana.
Okay.
I want Jaden and my girls to meet Nana.
Yeah, we got to get Nana over to the States.
Yes.
Oh,
Nana,
please do.
hey,
And I'm gonna call my connection for Erica Badu too and see if he can connect you guys. You have
I'll
a website
appreciate
or
that.
anything?
Thank you.
she's gonna send us links on
Yes,
Facebook,
I
right?
have links. I have
Yes,
so many
okay.
links. Yeah.
Okay, that'd be
You on
great.
Instagram?
We'll make sure you get links when we post this.
Are you on IG?
IG, FB,
Brick City Baby 55. We're coming for you. We're gonna get you.
Okay.
It was so nice to meet you all.
Thank you.
Nice to meet
Pleasure.
you
My
too.
pleasure. God bless you.
And sorry for
God
putting
bless
you on
you.
the spot.
That, Mr. Vaughn,
Yes.
Virl, Show Mo.
All right.
Hey, that
Love.
medicine from the dentist is working on JL, isn't it?
Oh God, I'm telling you. I'm gonna have another nip before I go to sleep.
Well, we thank you for your time, but unfortunately ours is up. So stay safe, everyone. Bye-bye.
You
Take care.
too.
Hi,
Take
guys.
care.
Yeah.
All right.
Love you all. Take care. Thank you.